So I was working on this walnut epoxy display. Everything was going great until I made a simple mistake that could have set me back big time. Turns out I didn't have my epoxy at the right temperature. It was way too cold and the base layer got way thicker than I wanted. From start to finish, here's the full process: what worked, what didn't, and how I fixed it.
So let's begin. The very beginning is where things started going wrong. I rushed the process and mixed my epoxy as soon as it arrived, before I had time to acclimate. It was too cold, which made it much thicker than usual. Normally I wouldn't take the risk, but since it was the base layer and I was adding color instead of doing a clear pour, I decided to go for it. I used Merlot red from Black Diamond Pigments and made sure to mix it thoroughly. Even though the epoxy was thick, the color blended in nicely. Before pouring, I always spray my silicone mold with mold release. It helps protect the mold and makes demolding a lot easier. Next, I place my piece of walnut and weight it down to keep it from floating when the epoxy is poured. This base layer will be about 1/4 inch deep. I'll let it level out and then hit it with a heat gun to pop any bubbles and smooth it out as much as possible.
Alright, now that the base layer is set, it's time for the deep pour. I'm using Ultra Clear Epoxy's deep pour resin for this step. I've used their epoxy before in a few builds and I truly love their product. I'll link their epoxy in the description below. With any epoxy, you have to read the labels for mixing ratios, depths, and temperatures. You know, something I really nailed earlier in this project.
Nailed it.
This specific deep pour calls for a 2-to-1 mix ratio. That's 2 part resins to 1 part hardener. They also have a handy coverage calculator on their website to help you measure exactly how much epoxy you need for your project.
Again, this deep pour calls for a 2-to-1 mix ratio, and it's important to measure carefully. Too much or too little can throw off the cure. Taking your time here can save the project from disaster. Now I'm adding the hardener. This part is thinner and pours much faster, so I take my time to get the exact 2-to-1 ratio. Accuracy is everything. Once both parts are mixed in, I mix thoroughly for about 3 to 5 minutes. At first, the epoxy looks cloudy, but as I stir, it clears up. I make sure to scrape the sides and bottom of the container so everything is fully incorporated. If you don't mix well, the epoxy might not cure properly. With the epoxy fully mixed, I start by pouring the first half of the deep pour. Pouring in stages helps the bubbles to escape easier. I make sure to pour slowly and evenly to avoid trapping excess air. Now I'll go over the surface with a heat gun to pop any bubbles. A few quick passes are all it takes to get a smooth, crystal clear finish. With the first layer settled, I'll pour the remaining epoxy, filling it to the top of the walnut. One last pass with a heat gun, and now it's just a waiting game while the epoxy cures.
And 3 days later,
Crafted Elements makes their silicone molds extremely easy to demold, and this is no exception. Because I used a mold release spray, the epoxy separates cleanly from the edges. A few gentle pulls and the board pops right out. No struggle, no sticking, just a perfectly cured epoxy board ready for the next step. Now it's time to plane this board flat. Even with a good pour, there are always slight inconsistencies, so running it through a planer ensures a perfectly smooth surface. Each pass shaves off a little material, and already you can see that rich walnut grain starting to pop. Next up, I'm trimming the long edges to get them perfectly straight. I take off just enough material to clean up the sides while keeping the epoxy border even. A slow, steady feed makes for crisp, clean cuts. With the long edges evened up, now I'm using my table saw sled to trim the ends. This ensures the final board has clean, professional squared edges. Now I'm adding a round over to the top and bottom edges using a trim router. This gives the board a smooth, finished look and removes any sharp edges. A small detail like this makes a huge difference in how the board feels in your hands. If you're finding this video helpful, be sure to like and subscribe. It really helps the channel and I really appreciate the support. Sanding is one of the most important steps for a flawless finish. I'm starting with 80 grit to smooth out any rough spots, then moving up to 120 and then 220 grit for a fine, polished surface. Between each grit, I'll wipe down the board to remove dust so nothing gets trapped under the next layer of sanding. Before finishing, I wipe the entire board down with a damp cloth. This removes any dust and lets me check for any scratches or imperfections. Let this dry thoroughly before moving on to the next step. Now for one of the most iconic parts of this build, the Redskins decal. This is a high quality vinyl graphic that will sit beneath the final epoxy coat. Placement is key, so I take my time to get it centered and bubble free. Once it's set, it's time for the final flood coat. For the final pour, I'm using Ultra Clear Epoxy's tabletop epoxy, which has a 1:1 mix ratio. Just like before, mixing thoroughly is crucial. You don't want any soft spots or sticky areas. Once poured, I use my gloved finger to break the surface tension on the edges. This helps the epoxy flow evenly and prevents dry spots. Then I run my finger along the sides to ensure full coverage. This layer will cure to a crystal clear glossy finish, protecting the board for years to come. From vision to reality, the Redskins Walnut Epoxy board is the ultimate expression of creativity and craftsmanship, where innovation meets fandom.